Hi, friends. Valerie Turner with Close to My Heart. Vale's Happy at Heart Paper Crafting. I cannot wait to party with you today. We are going to bring birthday cheer. You can earn hostess rewards, my classes, and also I'm always looking to grow my team. But most importantly, make sure that you join into my Val's Happy at Heart paper crafting group where you can learn all about my classes, techniques, demos, and giveaways. Next in our kit is the stamp set, and this stamp set is so fun because you can not only use it for the birthdays, there's other sayings on here for other cards as well. I've included a thank you note and a business card as well that you can share with a friend. Next are our card bases that are already pre-scored for you, as well as the envelopes. In the little baggie, you will find the gems and the die cuts that have been pre-cut for you, both the colored ones and the white overlays that will be used for stamping. On the white pieces, you'll notice that there is a little piece there that you'll need to pop out before we stamp on them. There will also be a couple extra white ones in each kit. Next, you'll find the colored cardstock that will be used on the card bases. I provided a variety of colors in these, just like I did on the die cut pieces. You'll need to cut each of these in half, so they should be 4 by 5 1/4. Next is our pattern paper, the hero of this show. We are going to use this one sheet wonder pattern that is two-sided for all of our cards. And then the white daisy piece, you'll need just a few cuts out of this white daisy piece for card number 1, but I included the full sheet just because it helps add stability to the card kit. Left in our baggie now should be the pieces for the box, and I suggest that you leave them in there until we are ready to create the box. The larger one is for the base, the smaller one is for the lid, and then the pattern paper is to decorate. All right, let's grab our patterned paper and get started. I do suggest that maybe you'll want to watch the video through once in full before you start, or if you're going to craft along with me, know that you can pause the video at any time. One of the great things about the Close to My Heart paper is it's two-sided, which makes doing a one-sheet wonder super fun because you have two patterns. Grabbed my cutter, and now the first thing that we're going to do is cut this zip strip off. You know, the Close to My Heart paper is 12.5 by 12 with this extra zip strip at the top. The one side of the zip strip has the name of the paper and the colors that coordinate with that paper pack, but on the other side of the zip strip is a fun pattern that you will see that we are going to use in our cards. It's great for both cards and layouts. Next, I want to show you something fun with this cutting guide. We are using one sheet of pattern paper, but with this cutting guide, you'll notice that I added a blue line across the middle of this 12 by 12. You can actually use two different sheets of paper if you choose, so that you would have more pattern into your cards, or you can also by using only the 6 by 12 portion of this cutting guide, you could cut your cards in half, right? So you could make half the cards. All right, so now we are going to make our first cut on this paper, and you'll notice how I have the paper in the trimmer so that my patterns are going to be going the right way. And my first cut is going to be at 3.5. Okay, so you see how that's going to fit there. I've also made a couple of other smaller blue lines where you'll see where each of the big cuts will be on the patterns. So now we're going to turn our paper and we're going to cut 2.25, right? So you see how these pieces are all going to fit together here. You could continue to do these 2.25 because I'm doing one pattern paper and I'm doing the whole 12 by 12. You could cut the next larger pieces, or you can continue doing the small ones in the order I have them here. So now I'm doing this 1 3/4 by 1.5, followed by 2 more cuts that will be 2.25, followed by cutting the end piece at 1 3/4. Now you're going to notice I turned my paper over, and the reason why I did that is I didn't want to cut the Your Day in half. I wanted to keep it whole. So depending on how your paper goes, you can switch it around a little bit if you like on that last cut there. Now we are ready to do our next cut for this middle section here, and this is going to be a 4-inch cut on our paper. Now we're going to rotate our paper and we're ready to make these cuts. Now you're going to notice that you're not going to want to cut those 1 inches all the way down. We want to catch those 3/4 pieces next, right? So we're going to do 3/4, and I actually went ahead and did both of these 3/4 pieces at the same time. It was just easier that way since we are doing one patterned paper, right? We're doing the whole 12 by 12 because remember I said you could cut this in half and do 2 different patterns, right? Okay, so now we're going to do our 1-inch strips, and we're going to need 4 of those. And then once we have those cut, we're going to take these 1-inch strips and cut them in half, which will be 5.25. You see how these are all coming together on our cutting guide. And now we have our last piece here, which is 4.5 by 12. And since we're doing the whole 12 by 12 in this pattern, we are going to cut 1.5 strips. You should have 3 of those. And then you're going to cut these by 3 by 3 and by 3, and that will give you all of these last little pieces that you need. Next, you're going to grab your colored cardstock and you're going to cut these in half, which will be 5.25. You'll see how these are going to fit on your card fronts. You should have a total of 14. There's going to be 1 extra. Next, you're going to grab your white daisy cardstock and you're going to need 4 pieces that are cut 3.5 by 2.5. You'll also use some of the white daisy for stamping on card number 1 as well. You'll cut those as you stamp them. Next, you want to grab the little baggie with your die cut pieces in them and sort out the white pieces from the colored pieces. You should have at least 2 of every color, plus you'll have a few extras to total up to 14 of the color die cuts. Now we're going to take the white ones, and as I mentioned earlier, you're going to want to pop out those little pieces there if you haven't already. You might want to have a pair of scissors handy in case there's anything that needs to be trimmed up. Keep in mind that I did give you a couple extra of the white ones just in case you needed them. Once you have those all popped out, you can go ahead and throw away the pieces that you popped out unless you have some great use for them. I'd love to hear in the comments below. Now we are ready to start stamping. You'll see here that I used the happy birthday and it's your day. And I did them in different colors. Now I did put in the supply list that you could use any of the coordinating colors. I have the happy birthday on my block, and we're going to go ahead and season it. I'm showing you here that there's two ways to season a stamp set. You can season it by rubbing it on your hand, or you can season it by using a rub and remove eraser. Another way is to stamp it multiple times on a scrap piece of paper. So here you notice I stamped the happy birthday. I found that it was easier for me to line it up on there if I stamped the bottom one first, the birthday, and then the happy above it. So I'm just randomly stamping these, and I did go ahead and stamp all 14 of them, or as many as I gave you, but there are a couple extra, but it was just easier just to go ahead and stamp them all. If you're doing all one color, you can just go ahead and stamp them all one color. If you're using multiple colors, then feel free to mix them up. All of the colors that I mentioned are going to match with this paper. Black is going to look great. The green, the red, the blue, any of these colors that I mentioned will look fantastic. Also, don't forget that you want to stamp some of them with the It's Your Day as well. So here I am switching out my stamp set on the black, and I have It's Your Day, seasoned it, and ready to go. I showed you both ways again. You don't have to do both. You can only do one, but I was just showing you both ways. And I'm mixing my colors up just like I did on the other ones, doing the blue and the red, or whichever colors you're using. You can even do all black. It's whatever you choose. Be sure that you are cleaning your stamp sets before you change colors though, so you're not contaminating your stamps. I also did a couple with the ballerina pink, but I thought it was a little light for a sentiment color. Here I wanted to show you a fun technique that I did called rocking and rolling, where I inked it in the lighter color and then just rolled the edges in the darker. And look at how fun that is. When you do this technique, you always want to start with your lighter color first. Now you're going to grab the White Daisy scraps, not the pieces that you cut specifically to the 2.5 by 3.5, but the scraps, and we're going to stamp a few times the happy birthday that we will cut out. Notice here that I put it down on my Versamat and used the block to pick it up. That's a great way to know that your stamp is straight on your block. Okay, so I'm just going to stamp these down here, and we're going to cut these out for card number 1. You'll notice here that I didn't stamp the happy quite right, and when I tried to go back over it, I didn't line it up well. Our clear stamps make it easy to do that. However, I have really bad vertigo as well as balance issues and a number of other things. And the reason why I'm telling you this, my friends, is because you'll notice when I'm creating the cards that I really struggle to put things straight. If you've been following me for a little while as I've been going through this time, you have known that I've said how difficult it is for me to put things straight. Even when I use a ruler, it doesn't look straight, so I second guess myself. Well, I was just diagnosed with a vestibular disorder, and now it all makes sense. So if you see things that I've put down that don't look straight to you, just make them straight on yours, or hey, go with it just like I am. Now we're going to grab our card bases, and we're going to go ahead and fold those in half. They are already pre-scored for you. Once you have those all scored, you're going to go ahead and start placing the colored 4 by 5 1/4 pieces down on each of the card bases. Don't forget that there will be one extra, so you get to choose which color you would like more of. Now we are ready to start assembling our cards. Are you ready? Here is a look at card number 1, and you can use the white piece, or you can use just the colored piece with the happy birthday that we stamped on the scrap paper, and I'll show you that here in a minute. For these, you can use either tape runner or liquid adhesive, whichever you prefer. And you notice that I used the all-purpose mat. This is actually a piece that I cut down from our full-size all-purpose mat. Perfect for adhesive work because the adhesive will not stick to it, and the adhesive does not get all over your table. your projects or anywhere else. The all-purpose mat is also perfect for any of your messy jobs because it cleans up real nice. Also, it's heat resistant. Now that I've picked out my colors for card number 1, I'm going to go ahead and grab my scissors, and I love our new Close to My Heart desktop tool caddy. I'm going to go ahead and cut these out, and as I started to cut them with the scissors, I realized that using my paper cutter would be better. Here's what we're going to do with these. So we're going to go ahead and banner the ends, and I did this on one or two of them, and the other ones I just left square at the end, but I liked the banner one better. So we're going to go ahead and banner these, and you do that by cutting a slit up the center and then meeting it on both sides, and that way you have a nice even banner at the end. So these ones, you're going to go ahead and you're going to adhere them right down onto your colored starburst there. I don't know exactly what that's called, so I'll call it a starburst. And look at how fun that is. So those are the options, and you can do this option on any of these cards. I gave you plenty of white cardstock, so if you want to use the white starburst, you can. If you want to stamp on the scrap paper and put the stamped piece right to the star banner, that's totally up to you. Lots of choices here. And then on this one, I used the liquid glue just so you could see that either option will work great. And as I was on the roll putting these together, I decided that I would just go ahead and put them all together for all of the cards. It doesn't matter which color is going to go where because they're all going to coordinate and match the paper beautifully. These white pieces are pretty forgiving. If you have trouble lining them up, don't worry. You can take scissors and just trim the little bit of the color if it shows around the white piece, as you've seen that I've done here on a couple of them. And don't forget, you will have a couple of extras. Now we can get back to actually putting card number 1 together. So we are going to grab our first 3.5 by 2.25 piece of patterned paper, our 3.5 by 2.5 piece of white daisy, that zip strip, and we're going to cut that down to 4.25. And now I'm going to grab some foam tape, and we're going to pop up our sentiment piece with foam tape. Okay, and you get to choose which colors you want on which card, but they will all look great. Don't forget to add bling. I planned 3 gems for each card because you should always put your gems in odd numbers. Did you know that? It's more appealing to your eye, just like they used to say with interior design, 3, 5, 7, 9, right? Odd numbers. And look at how fast these cards go together once we have everything all prepared ahead of time. Don't forget to use the ones you stamped on the scrap paper and cut out for this card as well. I love using our Close to My Heart non-stick micro tip scissors for cutting foam tape because they don't get all gooey and sticky. For card number 1, there's 4 cards, and 2 of them we use the zip strip, and the other 2 we use that 4 by 3/4 piece. Now we're ready to move on to card number 2, and here, my friends, you will see I fussed with these quite a bit to get them straight and matched up, and I don't know, I noticed that one of my pieces, I must not have cut it quite even, but once I put the sentiment down, nobody will even notice. And then now we're ready to move on to card number 3. And for this card, there will be 4 cards that match this. And another little tip here is that you can color the gems with an alcohol marker. So here you see I colored them blue. These are the tri-blend markers available on my website. I just love the bright and bold, happy colors in this kit. These cards are sure to bring birthday cheer. I also love how quick and easy these cards go together and that you now have a pattern that you can reuse with any paper in your stash. Now we are on to our last design already. This one will have 3 pieces, and you get to decide which side of the paper you want up. You'll notice that I did a combination of different, whether I did 2 confetti up and one of the blue cake piece up, or some I did 2 of the birthday cake and 1 confetti, or here, look, I did all 3 blue up. You get to choose which works best for you and the design. Now, I did take a look to make sure, like if it said your day on it, that I wasn't cutting the words off. So on those ones, I probably put the confetti up, right? So just take a look at your pattern and decide what works best. And you see here, I colored more of the gems, which look really great with this kit as well. Now we have finished all 13 of our cards. Look at how fun these are, and we are ready to start making a box. This box will hold all 13 cards and the envelopes. It is important to get your measurements correctly or your lid will not fit on your box. There are a variety of different colors for the boxes, so I'm not sure what color you have, but you're going to want to grab the 10 by 12 piece of cardstock. Also, whatever tools you use for scoring, whether it's a score blade, whether it's a score board, whether it's a embossing stylus, or hey, I've even used a butter knife before in my cutting track here. So whatever works for you. We're going to start with this 10 by 12 piece. On the short side, I've scored 2 across the top and 2 on the bottom. Now we're going to go 5 down and turn it around and go 5 down again on the other side. So you see now, it's kind of hard to see. I didn't do it very hard. So I'm going to go back and do it a little bit harder. You want to make sure you don't tear your paper, but it wasn't very easy for you to see. So now you should have a 2-inch gap in the middle. Hopefully that makes sense, right? Now we're going to grab the lid and we're going to do 1 inch on all the sides. So 1, turn it around, do 1 again, turn it again on the, rotate it, do 1, and then turn it around again and do 1 again. Now you're going to grab your scissors and we're going to do some cuts on both the lid and the base. I just love this tool caddy here. It keeps everything all organized on my desktop and holds all the things. So we're going to grab our scissors and we're going to go ahead and make some cuts. I've grabbed a little template here so I can go ahead and show you what we're going to do. So we are going to take our piece and we're going to cut on the side here up to the other embossed line. And we're going to do both of these corners on both sides. Okay, so you're just cutting, you're not cutting it out, you're just cutting up to that other line. Okay, then you're going to go ahead and crease all of your score lines. You can use a bone folder if you like, but give them a good crisp fold on all of your lines there. That helps to get your box to go together. All right, now we're going to take our base and we're going to do the same thing here, but this time you're going to cut that square in the middle. Again, you're not cutting it out, but you are just cutting up to that other score line. Okay, so you're going to cut here. And I'm sorry, I'm off camera a little bit there, but you see what I'm doing. I'm just cutting in that middle section. There should be a 2-inch strip there. You're cutting that up to the other score lines, okay? And then you're going to go ahead and give all of these a good fold. Okay, give them a good crisp. Again, you can use a bone folder, whatever works best for you, but give them a good crease on all of our fold lines. And you can see it doesn't take much to realize here how this box is going to go together now that you have all of your lines scored and it folded nicely. Gosh, I apologize. I'm getting a little bit off camera there. But you're not missing anything. All I was doing was folding. Now we're ready to start putting adhesive. So you see I put the adhesive on the two end corners there, right? And then I'm going to fold the end up and adhere it down to form the edge of the box. Now you see I'm rubbing it down on my mat there. That helps just to get it to stick good because it's hard once it's folded and adhered to get it together. Okay, so I got my adhesive and I'm going to fold it up. And there you go. We're going to seal it down good. Now we're ready to start working on our bottom of our box, and we're going to go ahead and put our patterned paper down because it's easier to do that while it is flat. And I'm not exactly centering this in the space here because there will be a lid on the top. So I'm putting it a little bit more down to that first score line there. And then we're going to go ahead and fold our box up. I'm sorry, it was easier for me to get it folded when I moved it closer to me, so I apologize, but you will see here in just a minute that I am just going to go ahead and fold it, put adhesive on these flaps here first, right? And then pull that up in there and put adhesive here. Right? It's hard to explain where here is, so I'm sure you're watching. You can see what I'm doing, right? And there really is no right or wrong. You just want to make sure that you don't end up with adhesive on the inside where your cards are going to be, right? You want your adhesive sealed in the flaps. All right, so there we have it. And once I have this done, I'm going to go ahead and run this down on my mat there to help seal it in as well. I had something that wasn't quite straight, so I had to fix it. Okay, there we go. We're going to run it down, make sure that it's sealed nice and tight. I probably would use some score tape maybe or red tape that will help to adhere that a little bit better. All right, and so now we are going to go ahead. I'm showing you we're going to put our cards and our envelopes in here. Well, I didn't bring my envelopes over here, but you can see how you've got room for your cards and your envelopes. And we're going to go ahead and adhere that strip on the top. And now, my friends, we have a box. Look at how fun this is. We're going to take one of the extra pieces of happy birthday there and put that down on the front to decorate. I colored some gems, and you have completed your box. If you didn't grab your kit yet but would love to have one, I do have some extras available while supplies last. PayPal $35 to valerie.ctmh@gmail.com or use this link here. Did you see that I used this template from the Let's Party to recreate with the Sweet Memories paper collection? Look at how sweet these cards are. Comment Sweet Memories below for more information on this collection. I hope that you have enjoyed our card workshop here today, and I hope that you will follow me in my Val's Happy at Heart Facebook group. Before we go, let's check out some of the beautiful items that are in our January-February idea book. Be sure to check out my website, valerieblack.closetomyheart.com. And also be sure to check out the clearance section as we've recently added some brand new kits to the clearance section on my website. And the promotion section at the top where you will find all of our current specials, including our brand new Gnomes for Spring collection. I hope that you have a great day, friends, and I look forward to seeing you at